2 iPad mom moments in a row. What can I say? I'm a new woman. I'm changing. I'm growing. I have we've been on the road for quite a while now. For the first hour and a half, hour 45, she was not on anything. She was just hanging out in the car. And then just 10 minutes ago, I was like, do you want to watch a show? So she's on the iPad, and here we are. And I have so many, I don't know, I just have this idea that I have to talk to you about things that are going on, present day and currently, and what I'm thinking about right now, and what I'm feeling right now, and what's going on tomorrow. But I can also talk about other things, and I forget that. I don't know why I forget that, but I totally do. I was like, what can I talk to them about? I can talk about my relationships. I can talk about my dreams. I can talk about goals that I have, things I want to do this summer. I can talk about what I've learned from previous relationships and friendships. I can talk about how I've changed in the past 5 years, or just I can talk about anything. I can talk about betrayal, or growing older, and I can talk about so many things. And so I was thinking about that, and I was like, well, what do they want to hear me talk about? Because I could chit chat all day. I could talkaroo your ear off for the rest of the freaking life that we have together, but I don't know what you want to hear. So what do you want to hear? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to hear me talk about specifically? Because I'm down. I'll talk your ear off. I really will. I'll talk both of them off if you want me to. Do you want to hear me talk about relationships, religion, school, regrets? I've had a few. Then again, too few to mention. What's the tea? What do you want to have a conversation about with me? And then we'll do that. Oh, his tire is, he's fixing a tire. He was wearing overalls. It was so cute. It looked like something out of a movie. Do you want to talk about movies? What do we want to talk about? I suppose we could, I've got a long ass drive ahead of me. I really do. I have a long way to go. But we're here together. I'm here with you. You're here with me. And we got to talk about something. So what should we talk about? We could talk about travel. I had this request on Patreon, not this month, but last month, where it was a travel story time, a travel where I've traveled kind of video, where I show pictures or souvenirs that I've gotten from different trips, and talk about each trip that I've been on, and where I went. And I thought that was such a good idea, but I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man, looking for I'm in a sing-song mood, but I have been everywhere, and I've taken so many trips, and my memory is shit, I was just telling you, I think I was just telling you, so I was just I don't even know, I would have to really put that video together and plan it out. And what I think I would do is put together videos of just talking about 1 or 2 trips at a time, because that way I could really get in depth and go.
I'm watching A for Adley.
A for Adley. That's a YouTube channel, apparently.
Look it.
Nice, Angel. And so, yeah, I think that would be a really fun idea that my patrons want to see, and I want to make it. So, or maybe I could do a part 1 on YouTube, and then say, if you want to watch part 2, check out my Patreon, where I talk about this trip, and this trip, or something like that. A little teaser, a little teaseroo. That would be nice, right? That would get people to go over there. I think that would be fun. Yeah. Do you want to hear me talk about business? Do you want to hear me talk about epic fails in business, or epic wins? Do you want to talk about money and how it's changed over time and my journey with like debt and earning money and losing money and earning money and losing money? Like, do you want to talk about TikTok? Do you want to talk about drama? I'll talk about drama. You want celebrity drama? I can do that all day. Oh my God. I could. There are so many things we could talk about. You just have to tell me. Just tell me and we'll make it happen. Because sometimes, you know, I just want to talk, but since it's just me talking at my phone until you guys see it, it's like there's no bounce back to where somebody can be like, oh yeah, now that you bring that up, I was actually wondering about this. And then like there's not that bounce back. So sometimes I run out of things to say, but I still want to talk and I still want to have the connection and I still want to do all of those things. I just can't think of anything else to say. So yeah, I am gonna do this really creative, fun, never been done before, wildly unique, extremely creative and intelligent idea that I'm gonna do on YouTube on my ASMR channel. It's gonna be pink ghost face from like Scream, ghost face. Excuse me, my goodness. Oh, there's a motorcycle behind me. I have to be hyper aware of that. A pink ghost face triggers video. And oh my God, I'm so excited. What are you barking at? We are in the car. I think she's barking at the guy on the motorcycle. She's like, what the fuck you doing here? Huh? Yeah, she doesn't like him. He's right behind us now, so she does not like it. She's like, dude, get out of here. Over there we go. I always just want to like stay as far away from motorcyclists as I can because, you know, I get scared and I don't want to hurt anyone. So if they can like, if I can slow down and they can get way ahead of me, you go ahead. You go right ahead, sir. You go right ahead. Oh my God, we could talk about veganism. We could talk about the environment. Oh, I'd be down to talk about that. I'm just giving you guys ideas. Like if any of them stick and you're like, yeah, I would want to hear her talk about that, just let me know. But I'm also down to not talk about any of these things and to talk about something totally different too. That's all good. One thing I wanted to do last year that I never ended up doing because every time I want to do it, it's like the dead of winter that I'm like, oh, let's go to a farm. And they don't accept tours like in the dead of winter in Minnesota at farms. And oh, here's the thing, not a farm, an animal sanctuary. I really want to take Rose to an animal sanctuary, not a farm, because that's not really Minnesota, not a farm. Not a farm, but a hey strip club. We're passing a strip club right about now. And they were closed for like 3 years because of the pandemic, but they recently just opened back up. So that's awesome. I'm so happy for the strippers. And I don't mean that sarcastically, like I'm genuinely happy for the strippers because that must have totally sucked to like lose their job during the pandemic. But yeah, so I want to go to an animal sanctuary and introduce Rosie to the animals, volunteer. We can help like feed the animals, pet the animals, give them love, and like clean out their stalls or whatever. Like there are so many different ways that you can volunteer at an animal sanctuary. And there are a few in Minnesota. I've wanted to go forever and I've never been. But Rosie, like, especially last year, she went through this phase of just loving farm animals and like loving sheep and cows and pigs and stuff. And so she was like, I want to go to a farm. And I was like, yeah, we're never doing that. Like, you are never going to catch this vegan at a farm. I'm sorry. Ain't gonna happen. But an animal sanctuary where they rescue animals that were like saved from factory farming situations, or like saved from slaughterhouses, I would be down to go there anytime, any day of the week. And usually they do tours, and you can like donate money, or you can donate your time, or both. Sometimes you can just go for a tour and you don't have to do anything while you're there. But either way, that's something I really want to do, and I really want to look into for when we get home from the cabin. I want to check out some animal sanctuaries this summer. And yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun, especially for Rosie, because then she can see the animals up close. Because sometimes, like, she sees pictures of cows and chickens and pigs and stuff, and she like knows that people eat them, but sometimes I think that she doesn't realize like what that means. And we're not, so here's what we're doing with her. Until she's old enough to understand what happens in a slaughterhouse and like what happens on factory farms and stuff, and she's able to make the decision of knowing and having the knowledge and choosing to eat them anyway, or not eat them, until she's old enough to make that decision fully, CJ and I have decided, wait, what was I gonna say there? Oh yeah, what was I gonna say? I don't remember. Until she is old enough to fully decide, like, make an informed decision. That's what I was gonna say. Then we've decided to just keep her on a vegan diet, because I mean, the likelihood of her growing up and being like, wow, I can't believe that you made me be vegan for 5 years or whatever, like 8 years, I don't think she'll say that. But I, as a vegan now of 7 years, I know that my parents did the best that they could. I really do believe that all parents do the best that they can with the information that they have and the situation that they're in. I fully believe it. But like, looking back at like pictures of me as like a tiny little baby and a little kid eating like ribs and licking the bones and, you know, doing stuff like that, I'm just like, wow, I really wish I had known. Like, because I just didn't know. But even if I had, honestly, I probably would have eaten the same stuff anyway, and I would have made the same decisions. But just to have that option, you know? Like, when I was growing up, until I went vegan, I didn't know what any of the meats were from. Like, I knew that pork came from pig because they both started with a P, but I didn't know what beef was. I didn't know that it came from a cow. I didn't know what sausage was, or bacon, or veal, or like, I didn't know what any of that was. I just ate it, you know? There was no like knowledge behind it. And I didn't know that factory farms were brutal and inhumane. I just didn't know that. So it's something that I'm like, damn, I wish that my parents would have known, so I could have known, and I could have made a different decision, or at least made an informed decision. So as of right now, Rosie's just not old enough to understand death or anything worse, torture, etc. She's just not old enough. And we've had people in our family die, and she's like, oh, that's sad. We'll just, like, she just doesn't, she's like, oh, she realizes that it's sad and that other people are sad, but she doesn't get sad because she doesn't, like, she hasn't wrapped her head around it yet. And so, yeah, anyway, she's just not old enough. So she eats a vegan diet, and as soon as she's old enough to watch some footage, and it doesn't have to be like brutal and graphic or anything. I mean, it is, but she doesn't have to watch that. But until she's old enough to watch like some kind of slaughterhouse footage or factory farming footage, then I don't feel comfortable with her eating meat. And people ask me all the time if CJ is also a vegan, and no, he is not. Which makes it interesting, if nothing else. It makes it very interesting because he eats meat and cheese and stuff, and Rose doesn't. So sometimes she'll be like, why? Like, she just doesn't get why he eats it, because she's like, but we don't eat that, you know? So it's a little confusing to her, but she's never been one to be like, oh, I want that, like, because daddy's having it, I want to eat that too. Like, she's not like that. She just knows daddy eats that and I don't. And when you ask her, like, why don't you eat animals, she says because it hurts them. So she knows that it hurts them. And by the way, I'm just chatting with you, and I say this to my friends in real life and my family in real life and everything too. Whenever we talk about stuff like this, I'm never saying it in like a I'm doing the right thing, you're doing the wrong thing kind of way. And there's no judgment held from me. I ate meat until I was 22 years old. I didn't like and I loved meat. I thought that vegans and vegetarians were freaking weirdos. Like, I just didn't get it. And so I am no one to judge anybody for eating meat or feeding their children meat or anything like that. I'm just simply telling you about my experience because I know that some people find it interesting. Just like I'm not religious, but other people are. And I find it fascinating to hear from religious people, like, why are you religious? Why do you believe in God? Do you think you should go to church every Sunday? Do you go to church? Like, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about organized religion, spirituality, like all of those things? Like, I just find it super interesting and intriguing, and I like to hear about other people's beliefs. And if you don't, that's fine. If you're like sitting at home feeling super offended or whatever, that's chill. That's cool, but you know, I don't mean to offend anybody. I'm just talking. And like, you'll know if I'm trying to offend somebody, you'll know, because sometimes I do get angry, and my angry vegan comes out, and that's just how it is. Like, if I'm feeling attacked in any way, or like somebody's making fun of my way of life or something like that, or if they're trying to tell me that I don't make a difference, or like just I don't know, if something strikes the right chord, you'll know that I'm trying to offend you. You'll know, but I'm not trying to offend anybody right now. So yeah, so I don't do farms. I don't support farms. Even like small town farmers, I just don't. I don't support it. I would rather buy my meat from a small farm than a factory farm, of course. I would rather buy it from, you know, my best friend who has chickens. I would rather buy eggs from them than a store, and like all of those things. There are huge, drastic, major differences between a factory farm and a small family-owned farm. But at the end of the day, to me, you're still taking things that aren't yours, doing things that aren't ethical, and killing animals that you don't have to just because they taste good. So that's how I feel about that. But then I'm also not stupid, and I recognize that there are people who cannot eat a vegan diet, whether it's because of health issues, allergies, you know, access to food, money. I totally get that. There are so many reasons why somebody could not be vegan. So I don't expect the entire world to go vegan. I think we will. As a society and a people, I believe that at some point, I heard a scientist say this once, and I agree with them, that the world will eventually go vegan. Not because they want to, or because they've suddenly like seen this light or changed their minds, but because of necessity, because we run out of space on the planet to raise animals enough to feed everybody on the planet. Overpopulation is going to make it impossible for everybody to eat meat. I think that someday in the very near future, meat is, I mean, it's already kind of becoming this way, but meat is going to be a luxury item. Like, I'm talking $30 for some chicken breasts, $100 for a steak. Like, I think it's going to be a luxurious purchase that not everybody can afford, that only like super rich people can afford. And then I think after that, it'll just become super scarce and hard to find. And what you can find isn't very good, and it's extremely expensive. And in the end, almost everybody will eat. Just randomly shut off. I think it was getting too hot, but we were on a roll. And forgive me, I don't have like the statistics to pull out of my ass, but if I did, I totes would. But I think it's 2043 that scientists are predicting that we will have fishless oceans because of the overfishing. Because like basically when they put a huge net into the ocean to catch some salmon or some little fish or whatever, they don't just pull out the little fish, they pull out millions of fishes, millions of fish. Actually, I think over 1 trillion or 3 trillion or something a year. That's just a byproduct, like a bykill, and they don't use it for anything. It just is thrown away and as waste. They sift through it and throw the rest away. And it's something that's a huge problem. There are so many big problems, you guys. It's not just one part. It's not just the factory farms. It's not just the fact that they are causing so much deforestation for, like, even like people who try to make a better decision or a better choice by being like, oh, I only buy free range, I only buy this and that. If you, like, that's not possible for everyone. The more land that you use up for like a free range or a cage-free animal that you're raising for food, that's more land that you have to cut down trees, completely wipe out, and it's just like there's not enough room, and we need trees. We need them. Yeah, there are so many good documentaries to watch. Just if you're curious, I went vegan for the environment. I did not give a shit about the animals, to tell you the truth. And for like the first year that I was vegan, I was like, I don't give a fuck about the animals. Like I just did not care. Because I've always been very much so like, I don't care what it is, I'll eat it. Like, I don't care. My dad one time when we went to some kind of restaurant, I don't know, they had this really weird reddish purple meat, and my dad was like, oh, it's dog. And I was like, is it? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, crazy. And I ate it, like thinking it wasn't dog, obviously, but I thought it was, and I didn't care. Like, meat was meat, and I loved meat. Everybody called me a meat and potato pie because I just loved meat and potatoes, and I could eat it for every meal. I was a meat girl. I was a meat girly. So, yeah, I initially went vegan for the environment and the environmental impacts of it. So if you're curious about why, Cowspiracy is a really good one. It's spelled like cow, conspiracy, like conspiracy, Cowspiracy. It's really good. You can watch it for free. That was the first one that ever made me go like, whoa, there's something going on here that I didn't know about, you know? And there are lots of others that you can watch. Forks Over Knives is a good one. But Cowspiracy mostly focuses on the environmental impact, which is what I'm talking about right now. So if you're curious, you can watch that. But yeah, I do not judge anybody for not being vegan unless they're being an asshole. If somebody is pulling out like a "but bacon though" comment, or just something disrespectful or rude, then I'm judging you hardcore, and I'm like, ugh, meat eater. But otherwise, if you're just like a good person and you also eat meat, who gives a shit? I do not care. And like, when I first went vegan, I was like, you have to be 100% vegan or nothing. And now I am so different from that. If somebody will just commit to having one vegan meal because of me, just one vegan meal, or having one vegan meal a week, or being like, you know what, I really love ice cream. I can't give up ice cream. I don't like the vegan ice creams, but I don't care about meat or cheese or anything like that. I can give those up, but not ice cream. Do it. Give it all up but ice cream. Like, there's no right or wrong. There is only positive steps in the right direction. And I'm saying the right direction as in like reducing harm to the planet and the animals. That's all I'm saying about that. I'm not saying I'm right, you're wrong. I just think any type of harm reduction is good. So yeah, if you do a meatless Monday, or one day when you're at a restaurant or whatever, if you're gonna get a burger and they have a Beyond Burger, an Impossible Burger or something, just swapping out the patty, still getting the mayo and the cheese and all of that, but just swap out the patty one time. Oh my God, if I could cry just thinking about it. Like, if every single person who watched this video, even if it was only 100, right? If it were 100 people who watched this video and each one of them ate one vegan meal for me, just one, that's 100 animals that would basically be saved, you know. And you vote with your dollar. And so people say like, oh, you're just one person, it doesn't matter, you're just one person and it's just one meal, so who cares? If every person said that about a plastic straw, every single person was like, oh, it's just one plastic straw. It's just one plastic straw. Times 7 billion people per day. It does add up. And if you vote with your dollar, when you go to the store and you're going to buy ice cream, right? Let's talk about ice cream. There's Ben & Jerry's. Change the world, or no, there's Ben & Jerry's The Tonight Dough in dairy and non-dairy. If you made the decision that one time, that one $5 item in the grocery store to buy the non-dairy Tonight Dough, that tells Ben & Jerry's, hey, shit, people really like this non-dairy Tonight Dough, which is exactly what happened. Because when Ben & Jerry's first started making vegan ice creams a few years ago, they had like 2 flavors. I think they had Chunky Monkey and one other. And then people liked them and they bought them. And they saw, oh, hey, there's actually a demand for this. Like, a lot of people are liking these. And so now they have non-dairy flavor. They have like 20 non-dairy flavors and counting. And they have non-dairy flavors of your favorite versions of, like, your favorite flavors of their ice cream. Fish food is my favorite by Ben & Jerry's. It's totally my favorite. I love the fish food. And yeah, but there are just, and then other companies too saw like, hey, shit, Ben & Jerry's is really getting good. Like, they're getting this market for non-dairy ice cream. We need to make some non-dairy ice cream. So then all these other different brands, Haagen-Dazs, Breyers, all of the like main ice cream people were like, we need to make dairy-free ice creams too, because Ben & Jerry's is killing it and we can't have them beat us in sales. And so yeah, that happened. And then tons of vegan ice cream brands came out. Tons of them. Like, every place that I go to shop for groceries, they have vegan options for me for ice cream. And that never was the case when I went vegan 7 years ago. The change that has happened since I went vegan 7 years ago is just like mind-blowing. You guys, like, Burger King has a vegan burger. Burger King. KFC had, it was a limited edition thing, but KFC had vegan chicken. Kentucky Fried Chicken had vegan food for me that I could eat that was delicious. Like, things are changing so rapidly, and I'm so honored. I am so honored to be a part of that change. And if if this is like too preachy for you or too much, like, I'm sorry, but it's something I'm really passionate about and I really believe in it. I told myself when I went vegan 7 years ago that I went vegan for my future children because our parents' generation, like millennials, dude, they fucked this place up. They really messed with the planet and the landfills that they created, the piles of garbage, the plastic usage, the single-use items, water bottles, they screwed us. And, you know, it wasn't their fault. They didn't know any better, but they did. They screwed my generation and the generations to come. And we have to go in there now and pick up their pieces and fix the ozone layer and deal with climate change and all of this shit because of mistakes that they made. And so I was like, I've always wanted to be a mom my whole life, and I've wanted to be the best mom that I possibly could in whatever way that meant, in all the ways. And so when I went vegan, I was like, I am going vegan for my future children because I want to leave them with a better world than my parents left me. And so it's something that it makes me emotional when I talk about it, because now my future children exist and I have her here with me. And knowing that I made that decision for her years before she was born to give her a better world in the only way that I knew how. And now she's here and she's so worth it. She is so worth it. And all the animals' lives that I've saved over time, it's worth it. Worth every shitty vegan food that I've had to eat, every delicious vegan meal that I've tried to share with people and they've said, no, I'm not eating that. Every time that I've gone to a restaurant and they haven't had any options for me except French fries or a plain salad, no dressing, no croutons, no cheese. It's worth every uncomfortable moment, every harmful comment that I've received, every argument that I've ever had with somebody else, every time somebody misunderstood me. It's all worth it. And it's worth it for her, and it's worth it for the planet, and it's worth it for every single animal whose life has been impacted by my choices, by choosing to say, I will eat this or I will not. And every day, I promise you this, for the rest of my entire life, I will not. It's not even a question. I think the only way that I would ever eat animals again would be like truly if I was dying. And they were like, the only thing that will save you is if you eat fish or something like that. And so many people like have health problems that are like I've known so many vegans, and this is tea and shade, who are like, oh yeah, so I was tired and so they told me I had to eat meat or whatever. And I'm just like, huh? Like, you ever heard of coffee? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're just, that was a joke, by the way. But, to where they didn't even get a second opinion. They were so quick to just be like, oh, okay, I'm going to eat meat now. And it's just like, that's all tea, all shade. But if I were truly dying, like of cancer, and they said that the only thing that would make me healthy were to eat proteins from animals, I would be like, okay, done. Because I have to stay alive for my kid, and I have to stay alive for myself and my family, and I'm terrified to die. But like, even if I was having severe health problems, I don't think I would ever go back. I really don't. But that's not what I thought we were going to talk about. Not at all. That is not the conversation that I thought we were going to have. I thought it was going to be like fun, happy, joy, summer plans. I didn't realize I would cry. But here we are. So, yeah, really am passionate about it. And before you judge me or think like something nasty about me, I want you to really examine why that would be, because I'm being very honest in my feelings, but I'm also being very understanding and respectful of other people and other people's choices that are not my own. And so if you're feeling like you're being attacked, just think about why that is. You know, like, is it because you're feeling like insecure about something or guilty about something? I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I've had so many interactions with people over the years where, like, I don't even do anything. Like, they just see me eating vegan food and they just get pissed and they start fighting with me and, like, attacking me. And I'm just like, are you feeling bad or something? Like, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, because that has nothing to do with me. But yeah, you would not believe, you guys. And I feel like a lot of you, almost all of you, everybody who comments on here regularly and watches my videos are so open-minded and so understanding of other people's perspectives. You really are. And so I bet this will surprise you to hear, but very rarely does a day go by that I'm interacting with other people, because a lot of days go by where I don't interact with other people. But 95% of the days that I'm around others, not strangers, just other people, family, friends, everyone, there is a comment about what I eat, what I don't eat. Oh, your food smells. Oh, you're fake food. Oh, you don't know what you're missing. Oh, but bacon's so good, isn't it? Just, ooh, this steak is so bloody. Like, just making fun of me, making fun of the animals, making fun of the whole situation, being outright mean and malicious.
Illegal potty.
All right, baby, we'll stop in just a little bit, okay? Yeah, just brutal. Some of the comments can be brutal. Others are just like, oh yeah, like, haha, very funny. But others, it's just like, why did you say that? Like, did that make you feel powerful? What? Who just says stuff like that? Or like, people will see cows and I'll be like, oh, the cows, and they'll be like, yum. It's like, do you really look at a cow and go, that looks tasty? No, you don't, you fucking liar. Like, you're just, like, who says that? I just don't get it. I don't get it. Some people, man. And every time I say that to, like, understanding, open-minded people, they're always like, why does anybody care? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. Because I don't bring it up. I never bring it up. Because I don't want to be that vegan who talks about it and, like, constantly brings it up, constantly reminds people that they shouldn't be eating that, or that, you know, an animal had to die for that meal, right? Like, I don't want to be like an obnoxious vegan. I just want to live my life and have other people see my example and be like, oh, if she can do it, I can do it. Like, that's what I aspire to do. So I don't talk about it. I don't bring it up. Other people do. And they're just mean and stupid. Like, stupid. Not them as a person, but what they're saying is mean and stupid. So, yeah, a whole bunch of sillies. Just a whole bunch of sillies. I'm just trying to save little animal. Or they'll be like, oh, but you know that plants feel pain too? If you're listening to the audio of this, I'm giving the finger. Because that shit's dumb. Or like, do you know how many bugs and birds are killed in the production of plants? Or do you know that soy causes man boobs and cancer. Like, just shut the fuck up, dude. Stupid. Idiots. Anyway. See, now I'm being offensive, right? I wasn't before, but now I'm talking about the people who deserve it. And it's just like stupid asses. Idiots. But it's supposed to be super cold and rainy. It was 87 degrees here, not yesterday, but the day before. Yesterday was like 84. And here, up north, it's like 65 today, and then it drops down to 41 and raining tomorrow. So I'm going from 87 to 41 in a matter of 2 days. So that's fun. That's a little fun, interesting Minnesota thing. And I'm actually really excited about it, to tell you the truth, because I feel so inspired and creative in the rain. And that also means that we get to like cuddle up cozy in the cabin, light a fire, play some board games, play some cribbage, and just have fun. I think that is really special and cool. And it's something we don't get to do in the summer very much, because it's so hot that like you don't want to start a fire when it's 85 degrees, you know? But when it's 41 and raining, you're like, ooh, let's have a fire. So I love that. I'm actually really excited to enjoy one more time before summer starts full swing. And my mom, oh my God, it was so funny. So I got that, I was telling you earlier, I got my dog that leash, and I was worried about it getting wet from the lake. My mom was like, oh, I hope that Passport knows not to go on the ice. And I was like, the ice? And she was like, well, yeah, the lake is still covered in ice. And I was like, what? Like, are you kidding me? I was worried about her collar getting wet because of the lake. I didn't realize that there was still ice on the lake, but apparently it's all ice still. So that blew my mind. Just the difference of a few hours north, it makes a huge difference. And it makes me realize, like, no wonder why people think that Minnesota's always cold. It's like, it's the up north people. But yeah, the sky is super gray, dark blue, gloomy, and yeah, it's sprinkling a little bit occasionally. We are 37 minutes away. Rose said she had to go potty, so I'm gonna see if we can make it. But if she says it again and we have like more than 20 minutes to go, then we'll stop somewhere. She's not gonna pee her pants or anything, but I don't want her to be uncomfortable, you know? I want her to be cozy and comfy. Passport knew that we were coming up. She totally did. She must have heard us say cabin or something, because she has been behaving much differently ooh, there's a rest area in 2 miles. If they have a bathroom, then we'll go there, because I don't have to get gas or anything. I've got a full tank, baby. Full tank. Yeah, it says it's 69 degrees. Aren't I so sexy? Aren't I the sexiest person? Don't you just love me? Anyway. Yeah, it says that it's 69. And yeah, rest area 1 mile on the left, but it doesn't say that it has a bathroom or snacks or anything like that. It just says rest area. So I don't know. I mean, we could go there and she could just pee in the grass, but oh, it looks like a pretty substantial rest area. Okay, yeah, we are gonna go in there. I think. Yeah, it's like a big building, so she can go potty, because we've still got 35 minutes left. Okay, yes, let's do that.